A couple years ago, I reviewed the Hyundai Kona when it first came out, and I was maybe a little hard on it. This is the 2020 Hyundai Kona Ultimate, the top trim, and let me tell you, it's better the second time around. This 2020 Hyundai Kona truly offers a lot, especially considering just how small it is. It's a spunky, practical, little crossover, and Hyundai even added a few features, or at least made a few features standard on lower trims for 2020. Can't wait to show it to you. Let's get started. This is the Kona Ultimate. This is the top trim level. I'll put the price down below. If you want to see a lower trim Kona, I reviewed the SEL, which is a lower middle trim. I'll put the link to that video in the description below. But starting right up front, so first of all, with our Ultimate, we get a little bit more of a premium grille. They're all going to have a rather large grille, but it's a little more premium than those lower trims. All of them, though, will get these LED daytime running lights that are on both sides. It's a separate headlight design, so you've got the LED daytime running light, then you've got the actual headlight, and then you've got the fog lights below that. So these LED headlights are only on the upper two trims. The rest of them get halogen, no options for LEDs on the low trims. Design-wise, the Kona has a pretty unique and interesting shape, and this is the lime twist paint, which is a really unique paint as well. There's even some accent pieces that mirror that on the inside, so that is pretty cool how they incorporated that and gave this a unique paint color. The lower trims are going to give you 16 or 17-inch wheels, but this one gives us the 18-inch wheels. They are fairly sharp. It fills out this wheel well pretty well. And another thing you'll notice is the cladding that you get above the wheel well, the bottom side of the body, and on that wheel well as well. It's kind of the new thing, just big cladding on these small vehicles. This mirror is heated, has a turn signal indicator, has blind spot indicators. You've got body color door handles, the smart key system. You've got roof rails up here so you can put some crossbars and haul some stuff if you want. And dimensionally, the Kona is 164 inches long, so it's a really small vehicle. Very easy to park, easy to maneuver, a great city vehicle. Now as you get to the back, it's a little bit of a crunched down rear end. You've kind of got this little spoiler coming off the back, a little bit of a floating roof type of design. You've got an LED portion inside this taillight on the upper two trims. You have a separate blinker, which I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the blinker being so low, but at least it is an amber color blinker. And another thing I didn't expect on a vehicle this price is that you actually get parking sensors here, which is great for when you're backing up, plus a backup camera. Then you kind of have this unique metallic-y looking silver color on this trim for the bumper. Now there's no power lift gate back here or anything, but you do have a touchpad up underneath there to open this up. And you got this cargo cover, and overall, this is a fairly spacious area. You'll be kind of surprised. You've got a couple of tie downs as well. So there is a cargo light over there, and you see that little thing, probably more so for a net, but you can use that. I've used it for a grocery bag hook. The best part is that when you lift this up, you have a couple options. So first of all, you can have this little foam storage area right here that's pretty shallow. Or you can take that out, and you've got a compact spare tire down there. But when you have that fully removed, you can move the cargo floor out and down, so you've got a lower, taller cargo area so that you can fit some bigger items back here or prevent stuff from rolling around quite so much. And then in order to fold those seats down, you do have to go to the second row or reach over this cargo cover, but then you get a pretty good amount of space and you really can't complain. It's a nice flat load floor. Now, it may not compete with larger crossovers, but when you consider the exterior dimensions of this vehicle, this cargo area is great, plus that little dual load cargo floor is really awesome and practical. Now on that 2018 model, when I first reviewed that, one thing I complained about was the lack of available or standard safety features. Well, things have changed for the 2019 and 2020 model year. Instead of being optional on the middle trims, the lane keeping system as of 2019 is now standard on all trims. The forward collision automatic emergency braking was the same way, and now that's also standard on all trims. And of course you can turn that off if you don't want to use it. And then one thing that I really didn't like was that none of the trims could get smart cruise control, but now we have smart cruise control. It's on this Ultimate trim, which is a radar adaptive cruise control that paces and keeps a distance with the car in front of you, or you can just do normal cruise control if you want. Now whether you have mobility issues or not, the Kona is really easy to get into because it's kind of that in between tall SUV and low car height. Of course the lower trims are going to give you cloth manual adjustable seats, but in our trim we have the standard heated leather seats that are 8-way power adjustable with lumbar support. They even have lime twist type of mirror stitching that basically are the same color as the outside of the vehicle, so that's kind of cool that carries over in here. And in my week of driving, I've gone a few hundred miles and I've been comfortable pretty much the whole time. The seats aren't overly plush or overly soft or overly firm. They're just kind of medium seats and I've been comfortable with them. The bolstering's been okay. The adjustment's been okay. No issues with that. Tall people or short people should be able to fit in here okay. So I'm 5'9", not that tall, but I've got quite a bit of room above my head with the seat down, and you can move the seat quite a bit. The steering wheel is also quite a bit adjustable with its tilt and telescoping range. Now to take a quick look at the interior, so Hyundai does not really give you a lot of softer touch materials. Like this upper part, if you put your arm up there, is not soft, but this is a semi-soft, and then you've got a semi-soft padded armrest. But I sit far enough back to where my elbow doesn't really get to use it, so just one negative. My bottle does fit down there, but there's not really any additional storage. Check that out. You'll see some of these little lime twist accents all throughout here. We have a leather steering wheel that also has some of these lime twist accents, so that's kind of cool. You definitely get some spunkiness, some uniqueness, even some perforation on here. Steering wheel layout is very easy to use, very similar to other Hyundais. I won't go into detail. You have rain sensing windshield wipers on there, which is pretty awesome. Then you've got a digital display in the middle and the analog gauges on the side. Now this is a 4.2-inch display. This used to only be on upper trims, but now you can get it on the SEL Plus. That is something that's new. Otherwise it's a 3.5-inch display and mostly the same, but I've been getting pretty good MPGs over a couple hundred miles so far. There's quite a bit of information you can scroll through. I like Hyundai's system here. There's nothing complicated. You can change up some settings here as well. Another thing that we get is, I just popped up the little screen, but you get a head-up display actually. That gives you a lot of information. You can even see your blind spot indicators, your speed, your lane keeping, and smart cruise control system. It works really well. But it is on this flip-up screen and is not on the steering wheel, which has pros and cons. My only complaint is that it's like on the vehicle, like on the hood where I sit, so it's a little bit annoying, but you can totally just get rid of that if you want to. And then taking a look at the rest of the interior, you'll see some lime green accents, lime twist, I should say, right there over on that vent as well. Also down by this shifter and our seats, like I showed you, you get this 8-inch screen instead of the 7-inch screen on the lower trims. It's very easy to use. You've got a home screen, like split screen. You can go straight to audio. You can do Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I love these physical buttons on here as well. You've still got a volume and tuning knob, which is always good. Plus, we've got the Infinity speaker system or stereo system, 315 watt 8 speaker system. And it does sound pretty good. It's nothing fabulous, but for a small vehicle of this price, I won't complain about that at all. And then on our trim, opposed to some lower trims, we get automatic climate control. It is not dual zone, so there's just one temperature that you control instead of the manual settings. In a vehicle this small, you don't really need dual zone, but this is all easy to use. Simple, clear buttons, temperature, fan speed, good to go. Now there's a lot of good stuff down here. So you've got this little storage tray up here where I've been actually keeping my phone or my wallet. This is a wireless charging pad right here that is softly lined as well. So that's a big bonus. You've got 2 USB ports, one even backlit illuminated, auxiliary port, and 12-volt power outlet. So you're good to go with your charging ports. The wireless charging is also something that's different. It's now on the SEL Plus as well instead of just the upper trims. The shifter is nice. You've got a leather wrapped shifter here. You've got heated seat buttons for you and your passenger. Change your drive mode right here. You can change between just normal and sport. There's no actual smart mode or eco mode. If I go ahead and put this in reverse, you get a backup camera with dynamic guidance lines. That is pretty clear. Then on this side, you've got your parking sensors for in the back, like I showed you, and then downhill assist control. So if you're going down a hill or actually off-roading, which you probably won't, you can push that and the vehicle will maintain a speed for you to go down a hill for a slow descent. Hyundai actually gives you a mechanical e-brake right there. The bottle holders are pretty good. They accommodate a lot of different things. This one is actually taller and this one is shorter. So if you have a little coffee mug or a little coffee thing that goes in there, that'll fit pretty well. Another change is that this automatic dimming rearview mirror with garage controls is now on the SEL Plus and higher. You get a sunglass holder and you get a sunroof, just a typical size sunroof. Now visibility right here at the front pillars, of course, are not that big. Then as you go to the back, because of our kind of squished design, you definitely have a pretty big blind spot. Now as we take a look at the back seat, there's certainly nothing fancy, but you still get that lime twist stitching on there and the same kind of leather wrapped material. I have enough room to be able to sit here without my knees pressing into there, but it is a little bit tight. But when you consider the size of the vehicle, this is not bad at all. Even though it's front wheel drive, you still get a hump in the middle, so somebody sitting there might be a little squished. You'll notice there's no AC vents, there's no charging ports or anything like that back here, even on the top trim. But you do get a fold down center armrest with a couple of fixed size cup holders. And even though this is a smaller vehicle, when I'm sitting up tall, I can still sit back here, so adults can sit in the back seat. Now under the hood for the 2020 Kona, nothing has changed. You've got two engine options, a 2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine or a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine that we have right here. One major difference between those is that 2-liter 4-cylinder gives you a 6-speed automatic instead of a CVT, which is a bonus. This turbo actually gives you a 7-speed dual clutch, so you kind of have a faster, sportier drive with this Kona, but there is a hiccup with this 7-speed that I don't like, and we'll talk about that in the test drive. This turbo gives you 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque, very healthy for a vehicle of this size, and miles per gallon is not bad at 28 city, 32 highway for front-wheel drive, 26 city, 29 highway for all-wheel drive. And if efficiency is your big deal, overall combined MPG ratings for a front-wheel drive 2-liter and a front-wheel drive turbo engine are actually the same, rated at 30. So this turbo does quite well compared to that naturally aspirated engine. I think one of the big things that Hyundai has going for it is the warranty and its new maintenance plan. So for the warranty, you get a bumper-to-bumper new car warranty of 5 years or 60,000 miles and a powertrain warranty of 10 years, 100,000 miles. Those are both great figures, but for 2020, you also get 3 years, 36,000 miles of complimentary free maintenance. So if you add up the tire rotations, oil changes, things like that, you get those free now. All right, everyone, we are just getting off in our Hyundai Kona, and it started raining quite a bit while I was filming. So it might rain a little bit while we're driving, but I have the rain sensing windshield wipers on, so you'll kind of get a chance to see how those work if it does rain. But so I have driven this before, but this has a different powertrain than the last one that I drove, and it's been a couple years since I drove it, so it's kind of all new again. But my first impression is that the Kona just feels very nimble. It doesn't necessarily feel sporty, it's just a nimble little vehicle, a very easy little vehicle to drive around. Now, one of my complaints right off the bat, I kind of mentioned it with the when I was talking about the engine and transmission, but I don't like this 7-speed dual clutch. I have nothing against dual clutch transmissions. I just wish that this had the regular automatic, because it's not a sporty vehicle, and a dual clutch can be kind of jerky, especially paired with a turbo, and especially in like stop and go traffic. It is almost basically just as efficient as the naturally aspirated engine, which is awesome. So slowing down at some points and the stop and go, like I said, can be a little jerky, but otherwise it's a quick transmission, and it's been just fine for the most part. Now we have front wheel drive, but go ahead and take it off, a little slippery. And it's a quick little vehicle. Now I was just in normal mode. This turbo's got some good power. And one bonus to a turbo, if you're not familiar with driving a turbo, is that it's pretty much effortless acceleration, like around town. So what that means is a turbo gets a lot of power without having to rev the engine up. So a little bit of pedal and you get a push in your back before the engine even gets excited and really has to get you some power. Like some naturally aspirated engines, the typical engines, you have to get a decent amount of RPMs to get a good amount of power out of it. But this engine is very capable. This engine and transmission, it's very quick, and it's certainly unnecessary for a vehicle in this class and of this size. But if you want something more fun and more powerful, this is a great option. Now the steering feel, like I said, it's pretty nimble. It handles well for what it is, for its class, and it drives well for its class. It can be a little bumpy, which is just a small complaint that I have with it. it's such a small vehicle that the front and the rear wheels are not very far away from each other, so you can get some jitteriness with that. But for the most part, it does a nice job, and I think you will be pleased with it. Now I just put it in sport mode, and that was not even floored. It was just very quick to downshift and raise those RPMs, and it still is. So you don't ever really even need sport mode. Some people use the sport mode in other vehicles to help them merge onto a highway or something. You don't even need that in here. You really don't. One thing I want to complain about though is that there has been some vibration that I've noticed in the B-pillars, kind of by the sunroof as well. It hasn't rattled like that 2018 model that I was in, where everything was just hard touch plastic, but it still has that, and it makes me a little concerned about it, and that's just usually at higher speeds, so probably not a big worry, but at least there's no dash rattles or anything like that. Ergonomics wise, the screen is at a good height. That's one bonus to the tablet style, is that you don't have to look down for it. Now braking here, the brakes are pretty good, a little bit of a softness to them, but they do just fine in daily driving. Now back to the ergonomics, everything's easy to use, and that's a big thing with Hyundai and Kia, is that they offer a lot of features, but everything is still easy to use. There's no complexities. You've got good storage cubbies down there. The steering wheel buttons are clear and no problems at all. I wish that I could use this armrest, but it's just not in a good spot for me. Otherwise, I've been pretty comfortable in here, and there's not a lot to complain about other than some of the cheapness, inexpensive feeling that you get in here. But that's what you get for a vehicle of this price, this class, and with all the features that it has. Now, I've driven several other vehicles this might compete with. I drove the Honda HR-V not too long ago, the Toyota CHR as well, and those both have their pros. The CHR, or the HR-V, is really practical. A lot of cool stuff that you can do with that, the seats and all that. But this has quite a few features for the price. It's kind of a bang for buck, features for price. Now, what do y'all think of the Hyundai Kona? To kind of sum that up, the driving experience. Most people are going to hop in here, feel very comfortable, realize just how easy this vehicle is to handle, and people are going to love the ability to park this, put it in your garage. I put it in my garage, and it's like, holy moly, there's so much more space in there versus a bigger vehicle. But there's a lot of space inside this vehicle too, in the cargo area. So you can haul people around. As far as a family hauler, you're probably going to want a little bit more space, but you could certainly make it work. Now, to wrap things up on this 2020 Hyundai Kona, if you're familiar with Kia Hyundai vehicles, recently I had the all-new Kia Seltos, which is bigger than this. It's not a direct competitor. It was $2,000 less, a middle trim, but I would honestly still go with that Kia Seltos over this. That's not to say there's anything wrong with this at all. This is a solid little vehicle with a lot of features and a serious bang for buck for the price, and especially the size of this vehicle. If you want a little crossover with some decent space, practicality, and a lot of features, this is a great option.